Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have a family's experience, or a generational encounter with Dogman. And it really does show how these creatures can affect an entire family. Before we get into it, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. My merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe, click the like button, and please leave a comment. It really does help, and guys, it definitely matters. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload, shall we? So, with everything that's been going on with my health and by this unwavering migraine, I have an appointment with my primary, who is also my specialist, dealing with my illness. Hopefully this goes away pretty soon, because I'm having a hard time just even opening my eyes without getting a headache. But I wanted to compile a upload for you guys, and I actually got the idea from doing the interview with Dark Waters for his 100,000th anniversary. And it's one of those experiences that just sit with you for a real long time. And even though you don't know this person or their family, you really feel for them. So tonight, this is the saga of the Taylor, Mississippi family. Luke and his family. Let's get into it.
Hello, guys. Good evening, good afternoon. How are you? My name is Luke Mazrich. I'm from Taylor, Mississippi. I'm 40 years old. And I'm just going to tell you, what I've experienced down here as far as what y'all call Dogman, but I call them walking wolves. So pretty much is, I had a normal childhood. Nothing crazy. I always knew about Bigfoot. I never knew about, these Dogman creatures actually existed. Yeah, I heard stories from my parents and my grandfather and stuff like that, but I just thought it was just one of them tales to make sure that your kids don't stay out too late to come home and stuff, to come home on time. So it's just a normal childhood. So I had a friend which I met. I think I was around maybe 7 years old, Joe. It was actual Sasquatch. And it took a while for us to me get comfortable with him, but he never saw me as a threat because he's fucking huge. So he would leave me little trinkets and things like that. So as I got older and stuff like that, we actually became good friends. I know it sounds unbelievable, but at the end of the day, this Sasquatch literally watched me grow up all my life. So as there was things that I was noticing that was going on around my property and stuff like that, and I didn't really know what was going on at the time because I was still somewhat young. My dad and my grandfather at the time was like, "All right, Joe, you need to get in the house. This and that, Joe. There's some animals that we should be dealing with right out there." So I'm like, "All right, well, we got coyotes, whatever. What's that? Mountain lion, cougar, one of them things." So pretty much, all right, I go in there because at the end of the day, I didn't carry no weapon because around my age, a lot of parents let their kids use firearms, but I never felt that I had any need for it because I never felt threatened. until my 20s when I had an encounter with one of these walking wolves. And that when I say that really flipped my view on everything over, it did. Oh man, just give me a second, man. Anyway, so just can you just imagine watching any kind of werewolf movie, like the biggest, baddest, ugliest werewolf with teeth, and imagine one literally standing there a few yards away from you. That was that was something that nightmares was made of. Literally, the thing freaking stood up, and the fingers looked like exaggerated, almost like raccoon hands, like paws, and then fingers. So, like, I literally thought I was gonna die that day. I thought, like, can I make it back to my house, or can I fight this thing? And then, like, when it pointed to me and stuff like that, I saw a few more popped out. I was like, oh man, this is it. And then, like, I heard like a massive, like, roar type yelling thing that I never heard before in my life. Literally, like, down to my knees and fear. And then not too long later, something was on its way towards me. I'm thinking it's one of these freaking wolves coming from inside of me, and I think it was my friend actually, and he went to bat for me. But y'all already heard this story, but I'm gonna tell you what happened after me getting attacked and stuff like that. I think it was about a couple weeks ago. I had got contacted by one of my friends, Mike, because he lives not too far from me. He lives about like 40 minutes away, still in Mississippi, the next town over, and stuff like that. So he was telling me that he was seeing weird things as well, and giving me a description. He didn't see it verbatim, but he saw the orange glowing eyes, the height of it, and he was really scared for his family. So me and my dad and a couple of his friends went out there to go help him, like, how would you say, secure his home. Like, we reinforced the doors, put security cameras up, put motion detection lights, like security bars on the first level windows and stuff like that. So as we was there throughout the whole day, we didn't have there was no problems whatsoever till nightfall. And then you hear like the howling, the growling, this and that. But other than that, no interaction and stuff like that. So, like, we stayed at his property for a few days, and at the last day, we was pretty much done. It was just it's pretty much getting dark and stuff like that. So it's like, all right, before we leave, we're gonna test out the motion detection light, the floodlights, to make sure that it works properly. So as we're doing that, we hear a growl coming from the woodlots about a few yards out. So we keep our weapons with us at all times ever since, like, the incidents we've been having. So we had our weapons at the arm, and then we was like looking for like the general direction as where the noise was coming from. And then this I think 7 foot. He was like about 7 foot tall, black, dark brown Dogman stepped out of the brush halfway, growling. And then as we took aim, I thought, like, all right, if he's showing himself, this one of them's trying to flank us. So we're scouting around looking for, like, if there's any other movement. We see another one really, really low to the floor, like, trying to approach. So my dad takes aim at that one, and I keep my gun on the one that was in the brush. And literally, seconds before we was about to fire, like, 2 canisters of, like, flashbangs comes out towards the creatures and stuff like that. These creatures hightail out of there, and we see green dots, like, following these creatures. So we're like, what the F is going on? So we're looking into the woods, have a flashlight and stuff. We see, like, got people in, like, black creatures. So we're pretty much like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, are these things being hunted? Are these normal people? Are these regular people? Is this freaking military? Is this like one of them agents that one of Will's guys? At the end of the day, we didn't know what it was, but we hurried up, finished up, told him that everything was good, and we left. We came back to our property and stuff like that. So like a week or two later went by, he hasn't had no incidents or anything of the nature with the ones that have been stalking his house for a few weeks. But like the encounter that my dad, my grandfather, even I had, like, we know a lot about these creatures. We're not experts, but as far as movements, habits, and these things are very, very, very formidable, yo. They're formidable. They're smart, and they hold a grudge, a serious grudge. So my thing to you guys, to everybody out there who thinks they want to see one of these things or hunt one of these things, yo, that's a big mistake, man. Yo, these things, they like Will said, they come from the hind. They also come from the trees, and they're very, very fast. Before you can even get a shot off, they'll be on you in a matter of seconds. Hey, Jeff, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I know when you said that they are formidable and hold grudges, a lot of you guys maybe knew or may not have heard his encounter. I did it in parts, and I did it in one large family upload. And his last, Luke's last encounter showed exactly how smart these creatures are. One entered his home, and he had a firefight. His dad came, luckily enough, to Luke's rescue. I praise God that he did, because it didn't seem, through what you sent me, the email, it didn't seem like you were going to get out without help. Is that a pretty accurate statement?
Yeah, that's a very accurate statement, yo. I had a regular handgun. I had my SOCOM, but at that time it was on the other side of the bed. So first of all, when I see this creature, and I wake up, slowly open my eyes, because I don't know, if you ever had the feeling where something, you could be in the middle of a deep sleep, you feel that something is terribly wrong, and if you move, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
That's literally what I felt. I slowly opened my eyes, and I'm like, oh shit. So at that time, something, I don't know what, Joe, but that whole week, ever since I located that thing's den, I had a very ominous feeling like, yo, something bad is really about to happen. Because I usually sleep with my handgun inside my safe, but that time I slept with it under the pillow, because I literally sent my wife and my kids away at that time, because I didn't know what was going down. I was literally terrified. Everywhere I went, I was terrified. And then as this thing happened to freaking be in my bedroom, of all places, it tracked me to my bedroom, Jeff.
Yeah, and it had to go.
My house is not small.
It had to enter your home through a door and go upstairs, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, second floor.
Yeah, so I mean, it literally stalked you. It hunted you, pretty much.
Yes. And then when I was able to get a shot off, and this thing wasn't backing off, I tried to barricade myself inside my bathroom, and the sadistic look on his face, yo, as it was peeling away at the door, it was enjoying it. And just like, you're gonna die today. That's the vibe that I got. You're gonna die today. So I'm like, yo, I only have a few rounds left, yo. Only thing I could do is like, yo, I here for headshots, but at the end of the day, I can't get a clear headshot. So like every time I pick away at the door, I'll fire a shot, and I know I hit this thing because you know when you hit when it hit you know the sound.
There's a thud.
When the bullet hits flesh.
Yeah, there's a thump or there's a sound. Yeah, when it hits anything, it just there's a connection sound. That's insane.
So I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, so I'm like, all right, I'm looking at I'm on the second floor. I'm like, so at the time, I'm like, I got a bathroom window. I'm like, yo, do I go out through the window? Because I just take the fall, broken ankle or something like that, maybe able to get out. But as fast as everything was going, I didn't even think I had enough time to get to the window and get it open because it was toying with me, Jeff. If it really went into that bathroom door, it had got in there in a matter of seconds. I think it smelled the fear on me and how terrified I was. So it just continued to pick away at the door, to the point that there was a nice sized hole in there for me to see his entire face. And he's looking right at me through the hole, grinning. And then as that happened, I hear shots going off. So man, I hear shots going off. It turns and looks out the bedroom door because, like, the way how the house is structured, once you go up the stairs towards the right, maybe about 15, 20 feet over, that's my bedroom door, and it's like wide open and stuff like that. And then just looking down at the angle it was looking out, it was looking down. So obviously there's somebody partially down at the stairs shooting at it. So as he's doing that, I was like, yo, I might as well. So I pulled my gun through the hole and I'm firing at the last, I think it was 5 rounds that I had. So all you heard was like, so the thing decides to take off. It jumps. It jumps. I don't even know how it. Well, from what my father said, the angle that he was on, he's partially up the stairs. Because it's like a balcony, like you know how houses, when you go to stairs, there's rails around the whole that separates. There's rails that makes like a U,
yeah,
and then it's the stairs. So it jumps over the rail down behind my dad and burst out the door. As he's doing this, all you see is you see blood trails, just freaking heavy blood trails, nothing light. My dad yelling for me. I didn't answer for a while. So he thought I was dead. I was in shock. It's like you hear something, but you don't hear it. It's just not registering to you. So when it finally did register to me, I was like, yeah. So it come up. He checks me out. I couldn't move my shoulder. My shoulder was freaking torn. I had claw marks. Cause I don't know if I said this. When I noticed it in my room, I grabbed my weapon. I fired at it. As I fired at it, it moved to the side. So I'm trying to make a break for the door, the bedroom door, to run past it. It grabs me by my left shoulder and tosses me back, which hits me throws me almost went through my wall. That's how hard it hit me, and I was getting disoriented. So that at the time, because
are you a big guy?
Over to the right.
Are you a big guy? How big are you?
I'm 6'2", 250.
So I mean, this thing tossed you like you were a child, pretty much.
It was about a foot and a half taller than me.
Wow. All right, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to.
No, it's not. It's all right. I got an 8-foot ceiling, and it's almost there, with a maybe 6-7 inch gap from hitting the top of the ceiling. The doors are a good 6.5, 7 foot tall, but it had to duck to get inside the doorway.
That is terrifying.
Yeah. So
now, what was your dad?
What was the last thing that I said?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
What was you were firing? What was it? A 45 or a 9?
45.
Okay, and your dad had what? A 223?
I don't know. He actually had a what's that? He had an AR. Oh, no. He had a SOCOM.
Okay, so a 7.62. So you guys were
Yeah.
um how many times do you think you made connection all in all? Just you.
Just me,
Yeah.
6 times.
And then your dad was shooting upwards towards it. What do you think
Yes.
does he have a calculation?
He hit it.
Okay.
He had it in the scopes. It didn't know that he was there. He hit it at least a good with the firing rounds. He hit like a good like maybe 7 or 8 times as well.
Okay. All right. And then shortly after, I remember you sent me this encounter. And then you left. Is that what have you left? You're pretty much selling that property now, right?
Yeah, I actually put it on the market. It was going to sell, but I took it off the market because me and my dad was like, "Yo, we can't." Knowing what's going on over here, to have somebody else purchase this property would be like a heavy burden on ourselves. So at the end of the day, my dad had called a few of his friends because they work construction and some of them like do security stuff. So we pretty much like we reinforce. We don't put fences up. People's like, oh, just put a 7-foot fence. I'm like, these things jump clear over 15 feet high if they wanted to. A 7-foot fence is not going to stop them from getting on your property. So the best thing to do is put spotlights, motion sensor spotlights, reinforce it. We reinforce the door, put security bars on the first level and things like that. Ever since then, we really haven't had anything on our property. Because if something will come on our property, the light will come on. And these things, for the most part, like to stay in the darkness. But I'm going to let you know this, just because they like to stay in the darkness, if they're really pissed with you, they will come into the light and attack you. So don't also just think, as long as we got light, that we're safe. You're not really safe with these creatures, yo. Honestly, though, if you have a Dogman encounter or a Dogman experience in your neighborhood, Joe, as long as you don't piss it off, stay away from it, Joe. If it shows up in your window, don't. Our mistake, yo. I think the reason why we had so much bad misfortune was, yo, because as terrifying as these creatures are, the first thing when you're scared of something that terrifies you, looks like a freaking monster, you're gonna shoot the goddamn thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And that, I guess, that was what triggers them. Because at the end of the day, they're like Bigfoot. They're curious. Most times, yo, they will maybe not mess with you, but the minute you show aggression towards them, yo, they will not stop until they get what they want from the situation. And I learned that the hard way.
Now, shortly after, do you think the body you found was that one body? Do you think it was that dog?
I was sure of it. It was it was the same body because we buried the body because we didn't want anybody else or anything else get to it. And we saw all the bullet wounds and the entry wounds of it. Like you had like 1, 2, 3. It had about 4 in the chest, right below the sternum. Another one was like where I believe like its lungs would be. I think that would actually finally put it down because the muscle thickness on this creature is really thick. So I didn't really think that part made it damage. But I think like the angle that my dad was standing from and he fired, he was able to hit a soft tissue and able to puncture the lung.
Yep.
Because of where we are. Because like that night when what I did notice, Joe, before I was rushed to the hospital and stuff like that, Joe, like I don't know if like if you're a hunter and stuff like that, Joe, if you have a mug shot, you'll see like bubbles in the blood and stuff like that, like air pockets. So that'll let you know that was a lung shot. So as we saw that, and I pretty much like we didn't really like touch it verbatim. We had gloves on because we didn't really want our scent to be on this thing because we don't know, like, as far as there's more. We already know our scent was in the area, but as far as on the creature, that actually led more to us.
Yeah, you did definitely not want a big link like that. You know, that's a murder link right there for them.
Yeah, so we pretty much we was precautious when we like the third we went to move the body. Yo, that body was heavy, man. That body was heavy. Like, heavy. it took like what, three of us like giving it everything that we had to just move the fucking body, man.
And then
the way that it felt like that won't. Yeah, go ahead.
Then you buried it, and shortly after.
We didn't bury it too far. We just shortly after I contacted you to contact William, he sent in some people there because the body was like maybe about 30, 40 yards from the main road. So we didn't want somebody to freaking like go over there, see it, touch it, this and that. And being that there's Dogman in the area, possibly that'll put them in danger. So from the road, from where the tree, the area where we put it was like maybe another like maybe 10 yards that we moved it in. Like we dug it deep enough hole, buried it, and then we put like rocks around it, like around it, so you can like even somebody like, so if William was looking for it, he'd be like, this is weird. Let me check this out, you know.
Yeah, and you gave the exact coordinates to both locations, the den and the body. And then shortly after was the encounter with your friend Mike, and then the men in black appeared. And that's insanity.
Like, see, people, what I don't get is, people, there's black and white and gray. People live in black and white. At the end of the day, this like about 65% of this world has not been explored. People say that I'm an avid hunter, but you being an avid hunter, have you been through every neck of the woods? There's certain parts that us as human beings can't get through without machinery and stuff like that. And these are where these creatures stay. Bigfoot, Dogman, I'm pretty sure werewolves too.
Yeah.
So,
we were talking.
Just because you haven't seen something doesn't mean. I'm sorry?
No, you finished what you were saying. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying just because you haven't seen it does not mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah. We were talking earlier.
Like, you see God.
Yeah, you don't see God.
A lot of people in this world is Christian. You don't see him, but you know he exists.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between them?
There's evidence every day of the God or Great Spirit or whatever. Yeah. We were talking earlier and prior to the interview, and I was talking about the Oklahoma, and I said, like that den, and it was by a creek. Yeah. And then you immediately said, the den that is by my house is by water. And I found that really interesting because, it's very similar as a traveling or, like just a pit stop, let's say, just like a little roach motel for them to hang out and then move on to the next place where they're going.
Yeah, what they usually, like, what I've noticed they do, like, just from, like, the observation and things like that, they take the waterway. They're not too far from the waterway. They use the waterway to travel, actually. They'll travel along the waterway because most times waterway is, like, well away from, like, the public view and stuff like that, and it's easier to get to different locations because it's a straight route depending on where they want to go, and it's unblocked. And then when they're tired, they'll dig a hole, and these things can dig, and they dig relatively fast.
Yeah. Now, for everyone that is hearing this and has not heard Luke's family encounter, I urge you. It's listed Taylor, Mississippi. It's about 10 videos from this one, and his family has had this is generations. It started with his granddad having an encounter, but his great granddad actually saved his granddad's life. So when me and Luke were talking, I was like, this is 5 generations. Now, the property that you live on, is that the same property or around where your granddad's property was?
Yeah, see, our property is not that big, so we put about 3 houses on that property. So the houses are like maybe about 2-3 minutes by ATV.
Okay.
So at the end, you could just step out and look. You can walk there. It'll take you like 5 minutes to walk. But they're pretty close together. So at the end of the day, if we like what happened in the past, Joe, for us not to hear what was going on, it was an ambush. He didn't even know that it was happening. Wasn't even able to get a shot off. Nothing. Like what my dad believed at the time, like this thing was stalking him and watching his every moment. So it was stalking him for days, you know.
Yeah.
And found an opening and took it.
He's talking. Luke's talking about his granddad. What happened? Once again, it's up. But Luke got attacked. He had shared that. And the Sasquatch, his friend, went to battle. Luke got out, went to see his dad. His granddad got contacted. His granddad felt obligated to go and help the Sasquatch. Shortly after, Luke's granddad was found dead in his barn. Not eaten, but just torn apart. And, you know, his granddad had years of experience with what they call the walking wolves. And it is a sad and terrifying encounter that his family has had to endure. And I don't even know. I can't fathom what your family, you know, has gone through. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. But at the end of the day, my granddad is in a better place. I hate the fact that he went out the way he did, though. But I personally think the reason why I survived that night is because my granddad gave my dad a nudge, like, "Yo, your son is in danger. Go to him." He woke because my dad woke up out of his sleep. He wasn't sure it was a gunshot. He thought it was a gunshot, but he wasn't sure. But something was urging him to come to me, which he did. So, and then from that point on, it's still the reason why I'm not today with my father's help.
And like Luke said about the property, his dad heard that shot and, you know, got that nudge, and he came down on an ATV. So I mean, in his
boxers.
Yeah,
in his boxers, the boxers and a tank top.
On an ATV with his SOCOM. That's you know, I couldn't not believe that. That's wow. It is a crazy, crazy story. And when you messaged me, I never forget that day. You emailed me and you said, "I got a couple encounters. I want to share the first one with you." And I read it and I put it up. And then shortly later, you sent the next one. And I think it was about 5 different emails. And you know, Luke's story has blown me away. I was just telling him, I said, I don't even know how many videos, 400. And there's a couple that stick out. And his is one of them. And it's not because it's fresh. It's because it is one of those stories that you hear and just stays with you because it's terrifying. It's informative. It's terrifying, but it's crazy. I have no word for it other than informative and terrifying. And I really appreciate you sharing your encounters with us. I feel terrible that your granddad had to pay the ultimate price, but like you said, he is in a better place. Is there anything else you'd like to share with everybody? I mean, the floor is yours. We got about a couple more minutes.
I just want to say, like, I just want to, just to the general public, for y'all believers and y'all non-believers out there, at the end of the day, if you're gonna go into the woods, just stay armed, and just keep an open possibility, because a closed mind might be the cost of your life. At the end of the day, these things are out there, they see you before you see them. most times when you're in the woods, yo, they see you, but they don't really mess with you because they have no need to. But you do have some of those that do stray away and do want to mess with you. So don't get caught with your jaws open like, oh, these things though is this, and then you run into one and you don't know what to do, and you end up being the next victim. So, yo, guys, please stay safe out there, yo. These creatures are out there, man. These creatures are out there, yo. The reason why there's bodies, it's been proven bodies, yo, but every time somebody puts a body up, the government checks it. Yo, I have my proof, which I'm not gonna put out there until the time is right. So, by the end of the day, yo, y'all need to stay safe, yo, and yo, carry a firearm with you. It doesn't have to be a high-powered firearm, but at the end of the day, yo, they know what they are, and most times they will back off. But do not shoot unless you absolutely have to. And if you do, like Will said, try to you get them in the chest or slow them down and go for a headshot. Because at the end of the day, not too many people can operate a high-powered rifle or high-powered hand cannon. My thing is, so what I realized works for me, like when I can't operate, like when I'm only using like a lower issue, if I can generally just aim for the knee joint, so that'll slow them down.
Yeah.
FYI, that will slow them down, and that'll cause them to trip up and fumble for you to either get away or get a kill shot. But most times you feel like you don't get a kill shot if you can get them in their legs, yo, because that's the only muscle. It's a strong muscle, but that's the only muscle that has soft tissue in it that will cause them to hurt.
The floor is yours.
Hello, guys. Hi, everybody. Luke. It's good to be back. So, I wanted to start off by saying that the last time that I heard my encounter, I actually went through the comments and I heard some questions, so which caused me to do some further investigating towards my family's past. Because one of the questions that I did see was that story about like what happened to my grandfather, what happened to my friend. So after speaking with William or Victor, he gave me area where they send my friend to. So after that, for like a few weeks, I've been doing some researching, looking for like sightings, this, that, and the third, because the area that he told me was only like about 6 hours away, and I've driven further. So I was calling the town, getting some research, last known sightings, and then I was talking to like game wardens and things like that of that nature, like what areas should I stay out of, like as far as there's supposedly Bigfoot Sasquatch sightings. So he told me the area to stay out of, which was pretty much the area that I was heading to. So around that same time, it was my birthday. My dad's birthday was actually last month, June 20th. So I had a couple of his buddies to go on a trip, like a camping trip, just hang out with the fellas. But in reality, I wanted to go in the area. And I figured that I had a couple of more people out till state. So we went there, we had a good time for the most part, and then we had an issue with us running into a family of Bigfoots. So I believe I saw who I called was Big Red, like a much aged version of him, but I knew it was him. So with that, what I felt, what I didn't tell y'all is the reason why he was aggressive towards me was because I had a gun. And as I noticed the scar on his neck, shoulder, and stomach and stuff like that, I also noticed scars from bullet wounds that he's been shot like numerous times. So what I feel is that over the period of 20 years, being shot at by humans and things of that nature, which caused him to have a disdain for us. Even though he was a longtime friend of mine, he didn't see me as a friend when I had a weapon, even though my gun was never pointed at him at the time. So, but at the end of the day, I personally, like what I feel in my heart's a heart show, as close as he was to me, even though he had that look that I killed, he's killed us before, as far as like humans. He was close enough to get me before I could even react, and he chose not to. He bluff charged me. We got away. Oh man. I'm sorry. So pretty much after that, I was happy and I was sad at the same time. Like I'm like, yo, my friend's alive. But the question was, he's still my friend. Like he had a look like that time the last time I seen a look like that in his face was 20 years ago when he came to my defense. And that was that broke my heart. It really did. To look at me the same way he would look at these walking wolves. So anyway, we they wanted to go back, but I was like, no, let's stay for a while. So they decided, we'll go fishing. So we went the opposite way to a creek not too far. And we went fishing. Like I said, we caught some bass and trout. It was pretty much, I was actually starting to enjoy myself, even though I still had that in the back of my mind. It was relieving. I felt a little relief, I should say. So that was about an hour or two, couple hours. I forget how many time went by. We decided to head back to the RV. So as we doing that, we came in on ATVs. There was 4 of us, 2 on each ATVs. We had a cooler strapped to the back of the ATV. So we put all the fish that we caught in there on ice and everything like that. So as we're proceeding, we hear movements from the brush. So we're seeing shadows and things like that. So at the time, I see like a slender type figure, like agile. So my initial thought was one of those walking wolves. And at the time, all our high-power rifles were in the RV. One thing we had was hand pistols. Like, to them, to these things are freaking pea shooters. It's just gonna piss it off. So, as it got to the edge of the brush, it takes a leap to the middle of the trail that we was in. And it was not one of those walking wolves. It was actually a werewolf. My first time ever seeing one. I never seen one. My 40 years life that I lived, never seen one of these things. And these things are more scarier than these damn walking wolves. The reason why I failed to say that, it looks like they have a human-like intelligence behind them. So as we're picking up speed, our ATV goes up to like 50, 55, and we're about to cap it. The thing catches up to us in no time, grabs the cooler off the ATV to the point that the ATV lifts up, and between the 2 guys and the ATV, you're looking like around damn near about 600 pounds. Lifts it up like it's nothing. The bag comes up, the racking on it snaps, it stops. The ATV drops back down and does like a fishtail motion, and they're trying to keep it under control. And as I'm looking back, this thing was laughing. Like, I got your food, what are you going to do? So I'm like, wow. Yo, this is crazy. It's time to go. I can't take any more of this. So eventually we left that night. And then on our way home, I received a phone call from my wife that there were some people on our property or stuff like that. So I told her, because at this time she wasn't there. She was out with a relative. Don't go back to the property. I'll be home in X amount of time. So we get there, we drop everything off, we drop our friends off, come back to the house. Haven't been in the house, not even 30 minutes, people come knocking on our door. Like, don't know who they were, what they want.
couple questions that when you looked back on the four-wheeler, you were ahead of everybody. You had stated that when the werewolf had grabbed the rack and it had the cooler in its hand, it kind of smiled at you. Can you kind of describe what that smile looked like a little bit for us?
Yeah, it's like pretty much like, you know how you smile like, yo, you think you got a fast, you pulled a fast one. I'm the one who had the last lap, as if we thought that we could actually outrun him. And then he caught us in no time, and he was like, I got your fish, I got your food, now what? You lost, I won. It was almost like, it felt like he was toying with us.
Like he was almost playing a game, like he saw you guys fishing and he said, oh, I'm going to take your food now. When you saw your friend, and you and I had been talking about it yesterday, we spoke, that's when you were like, I think, or I know why he was so aggressive was because of the bullet wounds that were in his body. When he was there ever a sense, I mean, you obviously recognized him. Was there ever a sense that he recognized you? Like, was there ever a point in that altercation that you felt like he knew?
Yes, there was. Because when he first looked at me, you know how, like, you have that look when you ain't seen somebody in a while, you're like, oh, shit.
Yup.
That's the look that I briefly got from him. And then that look, as quickly as I got that look of aggression as well. So that threw me for a loop.
Right. And then yesterday we were talking, when he gave you that look, you were thinking the bullets and that, but he's never seen you with a weapon at all, you know, as you were growing up.
Yeah, I never had no need for a weapon. Yeah, growing up, I never needed one. I used to play in the woods, and at the end of the day, he was the biggest thing in the woods.
Right.
So that was pretty much my weapon. So I'm guessing, like, when I actually thought about it and had time to think about it, I'm like, bullet wounds, guns, he's pissed off. I'm pretty sure he thought I was going to shoot him.
Now, when you said family, what detail or what entails the family? Was it him and what else?
It was him and two others. There was by the looks of them, yo. They wasn't like his color, but there was maybe a shade lighter than him, and they looked like juveniles. They was at least about, I would say, maybe 6 feet, and they stayed hidden. I knew where they was at, because when they got our attention before he came up on us, because he flanked us from the back. And then he ran into us from the back.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that those are his kids, his offspring, his children.
Yeah, he was probably taking them out. And
so I'm not. Yeah, and also another thing with that being said, being that they're juvenile kids, I also think that's another form of why he was so aggressive too. Because his children was there, he didn't want his children to be in danger, and he didn't want children to associate us as friends, and then his children come out on another human, and then ends up getting shot and killed.
Yeah. When you guys first went out there, your first night, before you made contact with him, was there any hooting or was there any noise that you heard that you felt he was going to be out there?
No, I didn't hear no noise. I heard all just the regular sound of nature,
okay.
The animals, the crickets, all of that stuff. I didn't get a telltale sign of because I consider them alpha apex predators, dogman, werewolves, Bigfoot, apex this is the same friend took a shot at Big Red but missed. So that's another thing that threw him into like thinking fury. So at the end of the day, because no matter how big they are, from their skin and their muscle are like a lot more dense and tougher than ours. Then right now, at the time, the only thing we had was hand pistols. Yeah, we could all fire a shot, but before he got like maybe 3 or 4 shots off, it already been on top of us. And then his dad is like freaking massive, and he still moves like he's young.
Has he grown since you last seen him?
It was a pretty bad situation up there.
Has he grown? Has he grown since you last seen him? Did he look like he was bigger?
Nah, he's still about 8 feet tall. Same weight. So at the time of me, I'm thinking I think he's already his full size.
Okay. All right. How far away, from where you saw Big Red to where you saw the werewolf? How far away was that?
A mile.
A mile. I wonder if these two
we went the
have,
opposite direction.
okay. I wonder if they've had altercations.
I'm pretty sure they do.
And there's lots, like you said, you were fishing.
Because like a regular wolf, territory extends over 50 miles,
Yep.
So who knows that this thing ain't trying to go over to that territory and probably had an altercation with them.
Yep.
So they probably decided to you stay on this side, I stay on this side. So another thing is, just for you just saying that, I don't know if, because I was pretty close to Big Red, to the point that I don't know if like his scent got on me, because at the end of the day, I don't know if the werewolf thing caught the scent of Big Red on me,
Right.
So, and then that's probably what caused him to peek out, and then just so it's regular humans, like, I'm just gonna scare him out of here.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But at the end of the day, it has, it was well grown. It's all black. Like, if you ever saw, like, the movie Underworld when that guy became a hybrid, that's exactly what they look like. Exactly what they look like. I mean, from head to toe, exactly what they look like.
Yeah, when you were describing it to me yesterday, I said, what was it like? Did it have like a baboon snout? And you actually said it was smaller than a baboon snout. It was distinguishable, but not really. So it was more, almost a little bigger than a Sasquatch face. Like it jutted out. So now was Big Red, was he was his hair like not groomed, but was it matty, or you know what I mean, being older and stuff, or did it still look like he was cleaned and grooming himself, or others?
One thing I learned over the years, especially Bigfoots and stuff like that, especially if they have a partner, the female actually grooms them. That's like the same thing they do in the animal kingdom. So for the most part, he was well kept. Though he still had like an odor, but it wasn't like a overbearing odor. It was like he had red. He had red, but he also had gray in him. Like he's aged, so he's up there as well in age. But at the end of the day, the way he moves like how he did 20 years ago. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
And he's every bit as powerful, because when I did tell you, when he did leave, like, he threw a log behind us, and looking at that log had to be like at least a good 600, maybe 700 pounds. And he picked up and threw it like it was nothing.
Huh. Now, was there any vocalization during that time?
Yes. He yelled at us.
Okay. Now,
there wasn't no roar.
Right.
There wasn't a who. It was like, I'm about to do a light, like, but they'll put like as much bass
your chest? Like, did it reverberate your body?
That I didn't feel that though, but it was loud enough that it had my ear ringing.
Okay. All right. Wow, that's insane. Now, with the
maybe it growled or something like that.
right.
That weird, because time that he growls, and like his growl is a cross between like a dog and a human. Like that's pretty much what their growls are. It has more human in it than anything, but it still has that primal. It's like a primal growl. That what it does is, at the end of the day, yo, if you get hit with what do they call it? When they growl or howl at you,
Yep.
what it is, it attacks your nervous systems. It pretty much cause everything to reset. So at the end of the day, you're thinking of running, but your body's not moving because your body just been reset. That's what like alpha predators do in the animal kingdom. Like when a lion roars at its prey, most times the prey backs down, or they get to a point where they don't even think they can run. So I think that he's aware of what his growl does, or his roar, however you want to call it. So I think he purposely yelled at us enough for us to get the point, and it was loud too.
Couple more things. I just wanted to get back to, because when you were describing it, I wanted to get back to the werewolf. When he was standing there, the arms and like can you describe like the hands, the claws? Can you give us?
Yeah, I could definitely describe that. Yeah, think about human hands. I mean, not no dog paws with exaggerated fingers. No, think about actual human hands, 4 fingers and a thumb. You put like claws, claws behind it. Then think about it, maybe about 2 or 3 times longer than a normal human hand. The forearm is exaggeratedly long. The pecs, human-like. The stomach, human-like. The male features is pretty much human-like. It doesn't have doesn't look like a dog's features, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I've heard, I mean, we've gotten a couple of different, not different encounters, but they all seem to sound the same, like it's across when they're talking about their genitalia. It's more like a cross between a dog and a human. That's crazy. The last thing I want to touch on is the property. I know you and I had spoken. We're not really going to mention too much about what's going on there, but your dad had made comment, and you had spoke on it briefly about the migration time coming, and you stated that you think the den is used as a holdover or for breeding. And
Yes.
do you think, I mean, because you've lived on this property, your family has lived on the property, and you've said you've heard what you thought was the sound of breeding. Is this breeding time around now for them, you think, or it really doesn't matter? You know how like some animals have a certain year when they breed, and
Yeah. I personally, because around this time, I've heard pretty much the same thing, like time in and time out, between towards like more like August into September. So that is a very strong possibility that it's there. not only a migratory time, but an area time for them to breed. They come to areas. Well, I believe that they breed, but they specifically choose the area that they breed in, where it has plenty of cover, plenty of food, plenty of water, and things of that nature, and places where they will not be discovered in case they do have to raise their young, or if they do decide to stay here or pick up and move. So, and then which me and my dad was discussing about, like, trying to fill it up, though.
Yep.
And then we thought that would be a bad idea because we filled it up and they came there, and then because my house was but so far from the den area, so they could pretty much pick up my scent and just track me back to my house, and then I put my family in danger. So that's a problem that we're having as well. But at the end of the day, we're just gonna prepare for it and just see what's happening, because for the most part, they don't really, like, the new ones don't really mess with us and things like that. So, and then with those people being on my property, I don't know how often they come on our property, but at the same time, if they're not well prepared, they might end up getting themselves killed because they do not know about this time. Because I don't think I disclosed this with Victor, because I actually forgot about it. It was my dad that reminded me about their migratory patterns and things like that, because he's been tracking it for a while. So I think that at the end of everything is that I did tell you about the depth of it. It goes about, what did I say, about 50 feet?
About 50 feet, yeah.
Inwards.
Yep.
And then
At a deep angle, right? At like a deep angle where you'd have to, like, if you fell, you'd almost fall like you were falling in a pit, kind of, right?
Yeah. You'll slide down. It's like you'll still be grabbing onto something, but you won't be able to get grip if you stop yourself from moving. You'll need a rope or what are those escape ladders?
Yep.
That you put over your window and stuff like that to climb down. Because at the end of the day, it's on a steep angle. Unless you got one of those hiking, mountain climbing boots with the spikes, and they might be able to stick your feet into the soil, and hopefully it stops you there. Because yeah.
All right. Last thing.
Pretty deep and spacious.
Last thing I want to ask you, unless you have anything else you want to share after, when you had your encounter with the Dogman walking wolf, and that, I love how your family has called them the walking wolves, because I think it fits the Dogman better than anything. I think it's a proper name for them.
Yeah, because I think the reason why we call them that is because they're wolves and they freaking walk like men.
Yeah.
And not dogs.
Now, when you had
nothing to do with those.
Right, when you had your encounter at the house and your dad rescued you, you literally thought you were going to die that night. I just am curious if that Dogman was a werewolf, like the one you saw on the trail. Do you think things would be different? Do you think you...
Yeah, I would have been dead, and my dad would have been dead.
So
the reason why I said them things are a lot smarter and a lot tougher than what they appear to be.
Okay. All right.
Because at the end of the day, like you and I both know, I did not. Well, I don't know I won't say that my dad would be dead, but I know for a fact I'd have been dead. The minute I fired that shot off, it would have pissed it off and he would kill me.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have toyed with me the way the freaking Dogman did. Because at the end of the day, the Dogman caught me while I was sleeping. He could kill me at any moment. It's like he wanted me to see him.
Yeah.
Before he attacked. He wanted me. I had that feeling like, yeah, I'm in your house. You came to my house, now I'm in your house. What are you going to do about it?
Plus you had...
Because, the way... I'm sorry?
I was going to say, plus you had time to... when you said the werewolf would have killed you, he probably would have just taken you out immediately the first shot. I mean, there was multiple shots fired before your dad even heard them. So by the first shot, your dad might not even heard heard the first shot and you would have just been taken out by that thing. So, oh God, that's crazy.
That's why I felt like I was being toyed with. And another reason why I feel that because I've seen the Dogman move at what I supposedly be his top speed, and how it jumps and moves. This werewolf thing is twice as fast, twice as agile, and it's like it has like a sharp finesse. And when it jumped about 20, 30 feet from where it was at, and like it landing close, we didn't hear no impact at all on how it landed. Like it landed like a cat does when it jumps off of something. That's how. And then like it pretty much, see, the reason why I think it's more dangerous because it's self-aware and it has human intelligence, human-like intelligence. Not like these not like these walking wolves, because the only thing they're driving on is instincts.
That's crazy.
So it's like, you gotta think of it. It's like having all of the walking wolves qualities with a human intelligence behind it. And and these things, and the way that, like, literally the way how it picked up the, like, with one hand picked up the, because it didn't wrap its hands, it didn't wrap its hands around the cooler. It actually grabbed it, its fingertips or its claws, just pretty much dug into it and just picked it up.
Four-wheeler and all. That's the craziest part about it. Like when you said it picked up the back end of the four-wheeler, like no problem. And it was smiling at you. That's insane.
Right.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate everything. I appreciate that you reached out to me a while back. I really appreciate that you keep us in the loop. I know a lot of people tune in to hear. I actually, the Taylor, Mississippi, the first encounter that I did when it was all combined, I think that's one of my top viewed videos for a while now. And it's people. I think people realize that Mississippi and Virginia, North Carolina, the areas in the South are a hot spot. And just like when you talk when you talk about Sasquatch, you automatically think of the Pacific Northwest, and Dogman and werewolf would be the southern states. Yes, we have them up here. Yes, they have them in Michigan. But with the LBL, I think there's just a lot. Like you said, they're migratory. They're just traveling all over, just hunting food and hunting a way of life. And I think where you were in Georgia is a perfect place. You've got water, you've got caves, you've got everything.
Oh yeah, the caves. We saw a few caves actually from a distance.
Right.
So depending on what side we are, because at the end of the day, all three of them are there. If you got a Sasquatch, you got a werewolf, then you definitely got a walking wolf as well. I think they're sharing that territory. They don't call it, you don't mess up, you don't come over here, we ain't gonna have to problem. I don't come over here, no problems.
Right.
Because it's like it kind of, if I was to take a guess, and so if you just draw a triangle, the top of the triangle is where the Sasquatch is. The bottom left of the triangle is where the running with the walking wolf. So I'm thinking a far right would be where probably his Dogman is, because at the end of the day, this was two different points, and there was a third point, but at the end of the day, you can't get used to. You can't get used to looking at these things and thinking that it's normal, even though they are flesh and blood creatures. I've seen to that plenty of times.
Right.
So at the end of the day, some things are dangerous, extremely dangerous. Like, my thing is you'll have more problems with a walking wolf than with a werewolf for the most part, yo. I think the werewolves are just solitary creatures that don't really want to be out anywhere, but the walking wolves are freaking curious by nature.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the like you said, like the Sasquatch and the werewolf, being that they have the human qualities, they act more like we would. They just kind of want to do what they do and live their life, and really not have an interaction. And the Dogman are just living on basic instinct, and just they're like the punk scourge of the woods, I guess. If Sasquatch and they're just living off instinct, like just turmoil almost. You don't hear anything about, they're always fighting or hunting or causing terror. It's like that's their goal. Their main goal is.
Yeah, you don't ever hear of helping anybody. You hear cases of werewolves helping Victor. They didn't have to help them. They helped them. They kept them safe. You hear cases of Bigfoot coming on the defense of humans, help them save their lives, depending on overturned cars, flip cars over, carry people. Like I think, like you got good people, you got bad people. You got good Sasquatch, you got bad Sasquatch. At the end of the day, you got a walking wolf that doesn't know how to differentiate from what's right and what's wrong. At the end of the day, he knows that he's on the top. He's a top apex predator. He's a top apex predator, and nothing really is gonna mess with him.
Yep.
So they really have no fear. They don't have no fear, so why would they have any more? It's because more comes with fear.
Yeah.
Consequences, repercussions. There's no consequences, repercussions to their actions.
They're just a wild animal. That's it. They're just a wild animal. So, well, all right, brother. I appreciate you coming on today, and I hope that your family is and stays safe throughout the next couple of months. Like you said, your dad thinks they're going to be migrating through, and he's lived on this property, and he's a couple years older than you, so he knows a little bit more than you, and I'm sure there's stuff that he's heard from.
He got 20+ experience on me.
Right, and I'm sure there's stuff that he's heard from his dad that he still hasn't shared with you yet. So I really pray for.
I'm pretty sure, because it took a lot to get that bit of information out of him.
Right.
And I also have the feeling that I'm not getting all the information that I need. So at the same time, I'm giving some time to see if he's not come to me. But at the end of the day, I know my dad. I know when he's withholding something. He thinks that he's pretty good at holding shit, but nah, he's not. Yeah.
Well,
he gonna hear this and kick my ass.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna be like, all right, you think so? Well, if anything does occur, please let us know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, what I plan on doing, like we discussed this already, for your listeners is, I do plan, like if they do, actually when they do migrate and they do their mating calls and stuff, I'm just trying to see if I can have that recorded so you can play it for your listeners so you can know what they sound like. So if you're right here, something like that in your neighboring areas to stay far away from it.
right.
Because one more thing I do want to mention, and I heard this from a friend who actually has encounters and stuff with them. During this season, if they are mating, they are highly aggressive. a chance of saying it's a bobcat or a fox or this and that. So just stay safe and stay out that area because these times is when they're extremely, extremely dangerous and aggressive.
Yep. Well, all right, Luke. See, I'm going to have you say goodbye to everybody, and I appreciate everything.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me on, and I appreciate everybody out there for taking the time to listen to my story, even though it's a crazy one. But at the end of the day, only thing I'm here for is to inform y'all, and just, like, whatever I learn, I try to make sure y'all know. I'm no Vic or anything like that, though, but at the end of the day, whatever little bit of information I could get for y'all, I will. Because every day for me, with these things, as long as they're going to keep traversing my property, is a learning experience for me as well. Hey guys, I have better days, but I want to thank everybody for their prayers. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit horrible right now. I'm still not like 100% myself. I'm still a little like groggy from my medicine that I have to take. So, but I am doing well. I can't eat regular food right now. I'm eating like puree stuff and mashed potatoes, but that's only for a few weeks. I want to thank everybody for your prayers. That really did help because it's been a real tough year for me. So as you can see, and thank you guys.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing everything that you have with us and putting yourself out there. I appreciate it. And the only thing we can do is say prayers for you.
Thank you, and my wife appreciate the prayers too.
So, last time we talked to you, things had kind of quieted down, but not really. The people were lurking around your property. What happened? What transpired to put you into this predicament that you're in right now?
All right, so as y'all know that pretty much my property, or pretty much Taylor, Mississippi, a lot of towns in Mississippi are hotspots. Not hotspots, but just like well traversed for these walking wolves. So pretty much like what I did was I went out actually a few days ago prior to my incident. I went to go buy some trail cams because I was going to put them on like every square inch of my property. I had a few of them, so I wanted to get some like shots. So I can actually send them into you, and you can see the areas. I just like my house area so people will figure out where I live. But I was going to show like I was going to place it like around a dead area, this, that, and third. So pretty much what happened was, so I bought a couple of the trail cams. So I was walking my property to find the best areas for some footage at the time for the subscribers. It was pretty much during the day. Like, the chances of people running into these walking wolves during the day is like 15%. But I guess for me, on the other hand, it's like 85%.
Right.
So as I was walking, I heard something in the brush about 100 yards away. So I pulled my phone out to zoom in and got a lock on it. As I was focusing, I saw something creeping up. And it was about 50 yards away. Actually, no, it was about 100 yards away in a brush. So when I zoomed on it, I happened to see it was one of those walking wolves. Excuse me. So when I saw what it was, I saw that it was focusing on something else. So what I did was I crept up on it. So I got about 60 yards of it to see what it was hunting. And I saw this young kid, had to be like in his mid-20s in a polo shirt and khaki pants and what appears to be like a badge on his belt clip. And at the time, the kid looked extremely nervous, like it was his first day on the job. And he had no idea what he signed up for. Then it dawned on me he was kibbles and bits for this hungry wolf. So I yelled, "You are being hunted, don't move." So guess what the kid does? He moves, trying to reach for his gun, forcing me to pull out my handgun and firing shots in the direction of the wolf, because it was charging him. And then I guess once I let off the shot, it beeline for me instead. And then I told the kid, "Don't shoot it," because I was waiting for it to get close enough to try to get a kill shot. So again, the kid didn't listen. He fires a few rounds, one of it ended up hitting me in my mid ribs and my stomach. And this thing is about 20 yards from me, and it trips, causing me to break its fall. As we fall off to a ditch, was like about 4 feet high. I believe I hit my head on a rock. So that's pretty much like how my injuries occurred. I thought from Ahmed thing that he was trying to kill me. Nah, he wasn't trying to kill me, but he was a little bit reckless with it. You know?
Right. So was that the first one that you've seen in a while on the property?
Yes. I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna get into that, Joe, because yes, after I got discharged, there was a lot of things that happened actually. So I'm gonna tell you how with the whole what's that, the gun runner charges and all that other stuff.
Yeah. I'm
about to tell you all about that. So after being discharged, I met up with the kid supervisor, and he was on the job. He asked to contact me. So pretty much what happened was, I met with the kid supervisor, and the kid's job was to contact me, and I asked them, can they survey a certain area of my property for a couple of weeks, telling me it's the largest herd of so-called bears that they ever migrated this way, and they wanted to keep civilians from running into them. He also wanted to apologize for everything that happened when he saw his agent. When his agent saw me, he thought I was dead, bleeding from multiple areas, not knowing I was unconscious from the impact. So they ran a story of a gun runner to cover up their tracks, which they said would drop due to insignificant evidence. So what they did was they made the story, and then it was going to drop it later, just to cover why they were there and stuff like that. They say these ones are extremely aggressive, and I should stay clear of them. Then I was offered a settlement for like $150,000, and they thanked me for saving their agent. While I was under the hospital, while I was in the hospital, like I was, you know, when you're unconscious, you can still hear things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much, I heard what I believe was like hospital staff and like maybe one of those agents talking, and which leads me to believe that these people have like hospital staffs or medical staffs and a lot of hospital to monitor certain things, like as far as like certain incidents, whether it's like certain kind of animal attack, this, that, or third. So they don't. It's weird because I heard them like it was like, I don't remember it per se though, but it was like a trigger word that made me think that they worked with them. But that's pretty much what's going on with me in this. So I did give them permission to go to be on my property for the time being. So like they gave me this I have this paperwork. I read through it. It's like
so that one walking wolf that you saw, there's apparently more. Are they using the den on your property? Do you know about if they're using that? Because, I mean,
the area that they're going to be in is the area where the den is. So I'm pretty sure what they're going to do, if they haven't done it already, is like maybe set up a trap or set up some kind of surveillance area. They might try to. I don't know if they're still doing a program, if they're going to capture them or eliminate them. But at the time, they figured, since like they got a few reports over the years that they've been like, my property runs into like straight into the woods and stuff like that. So they have to cross my property to get to the other side.
Right. Right.
So they figured that would be the best spot, due to the fact that the curiosity of these walking bulls, is 9 times out of 10 they might stop on my property. I do have surveillance cameras up around my house and certain measures and stuff like that. Somebody told me to put a 6-foot fence. I laughed
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
yeah, just put a 6-foot fence. I'm like, you're aware how high these things can jump.
So pretty much, the government, not only are they able to use the news to cover up stuff, but they have employees in different places working for them to help cover up, which would be a hospital. I'm imagining police stations, places where if an encounter happens, it's easy to cover up with their own staff. So
yeah, just think about it. Say somebody gets into an accident, supposed to unidentified animal attack, this and that, and then the wounds that they feel, they've never seen it before. So what the people can do, because I've seen this happen, they can just erase, just they could take care of the patient, treat them, send them home, come back to pay a bill. There is no bill because she was never here.
right.
Record showed that she was never there. And it's a click of a button.
That's
So
absolutely crazy. I'm so glad that you're okay. When I got the email from your wife, none of it made sense, and with the gun running and this and that, the illegal stuff that was going on, I was like, this does not make any sense. Like, and then you emailed me maybe I got 2-3 emails from your wife, and then a week later, I'd say, I got the email from you saying you're okay. You'll explain things, and now this makes sense because everyone was like, illegal gun running, what the hell, like, warrants, and it was so bizarre, and now it makes sense.
let me tell you something about the warrants, though. That's one thing I forgot. I talked about the warrant show. Even though they did the illegal gun running as a cover-up, they still got warrants because they was looking for specific things that they believed I had on my property that was contained in these walking bullets.
Okay.
And I believe they did get certain things that I actually had hidden because they had to search the house. But they didn't, like you said, they didn't find no weapons or everything was registered. But like certain things, evidence, pictures, such and such, like things that I had sent you prior, that they have that.
Okay. All right. So they were covering their ass on all the angles, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
Before my dad realized what was happening, they was in and out. They got what they wanted. It was gone.
Yeah.
Because my wife had told my dad, like, hold up, no, that's not what's gonna happen. But by that time, it was too late. They did what they was gonna do. So how was you gonna bring that up? How am I gonna? I can't prove it.
Yep.
I can't prove it. It's not no, it's mine. And even I could, they'll make it disappear, make me look crazy. So I was like, you know what? I gotta have plenty of chances to get more.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why. So.
Wow, I can't even. How are you feeling though? Are you feeling all right? Like, how's you got how many broken ribs?
I'm sorry.
How many ribs? I mean, so you got some rib damage, concussion.
Oh, concussion, a hole in my stomach.
Jeez, crow. Well, I can let you know, and I'm sure that you've saw the comments that a lot of people were saying prayers for you and keeping their fingers crossed. Since day one, when you sent me your first encounter, you've been part of this family on this channel, and then the very first interview, I think you connected with a lot of people because they could hear the honesty and how good of a guy you are. So I appreciate that too. And, I'll keep you in my prayers for ever, probably. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I do want to tell I do want to tell you and the listeners one thing, though. Y'all might think I'm crazy for what I'm about to say, though, but me and my dad do plan on taking a trip back to Georgia Mountains. Just me and him.
Yeah, just to go see the old guy there, see if he's all right.
Yeah, I have to see if they were a traitor or not, or it's just his personality now.
Yeah.
So I just can't leave that alone. I'm sorry. So they were like,
Yeah.
it was like, what if you run into this? At the end of the day, right now, I know the general area that he's supposedly in. So I'm gonna get as close to that area as possible. And these like I said in past interview, if there's probably one on every section of it, they won't cross each other's territory.
Right.
They won't. So.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, when you do go there, keep us in the loop, because I'd certainly like to know how that trip came out.
In the loop, I got a GoPro. I'm about to record everything.
That would be amazing. That would be truly amazing. We plan on doing that this fall when you're healed up, or next spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right this fall. I'm trying to get there before it gets really, really cold and stuff like that.
Yeah. Just make sure you're healed
They
up.
don't stay there too long. Yeah.
Now, since you've been home,
They don't stay there.
Since you've been home, has there been any walking wolves, any sightings, and nothing? It's just been quiet now.
Yeah, it's been quiet.
Good.
Plus, these people are already on my property, so they're doing their things. You see a couple of blacked out SUVs and things like that. So
Yeah.
Yes, at the end of the day, this guy sounded really concerned about what's coming. Supposedly this before, so I'm the most I ever see during their migratory periods, maybe 5 or 6, and he said it's way more than that, way more than that. Joe, it's he said it's something is going on with them, that they're all literally ganging together.
You know,
so I don't know. It's I'm sorry.
I was thinking about that when you had just said that there were a lot of them, more than they've normally seen. Just recently, I don't know if you heard the episode where the gentleman reached out from Pennsylvania, where he had shot one in the face.
Yeah, I did.
Now, he said there was multiple ones in the woods that they could hear. And then another subscriber of mine from Virginia just shared that a lot of the animals that were missing are coming back, and bear is coming back, and so the bear are coming off the mountain, which would be going toward your way.
Yeah.
It seems like they're going south for some reason, and I hope they're able to stop whatever's going on, because there's been a lot of sightings on the southeast.
Yeah, there's been a lot of spiders, a lot of chaos.
Yeah, I just hope there's no more attacks.
I know. I wanted to speak on the guy in Pennsylvania. When he did that howl, he has to be careful, man. He's been marked by them because he got the strongest scent on him. He got the scent of the blood on him. They could track him for hundreds of miles with that scent alone. So I'm not 100% sure that they know where he lives right now. So he needs to be careful at all costs. And that's why I feel like those agents are staying at his property or just watching him, because they know what's about to go down. So they're trying to catch them before it does go down. Because that's the worst thing. Because if you hurt, like my situation, if you hurt one of them, and the only thing I did was get my scent on their property or their den or whatever, and they was able to track me to my house. So imagine a scent of a blood scent of a walking wolf. How strong and potent that is. They could track that for hundreds of miles, man.
Yeah.
No matter where you go.
That's a great observation, man. That's a good observation. Thank you. that makes a lot more sense than them just hanging out because he reached out to me. You know, they washed his truck and washed his trailer down, but like you just said, he has the blood on his clothes. He's marked, like it's there, and that's.
The howl was a sound off.
Yeah.
You know, when he said the howl, there's only a few other times when I heard a howl like that from multiple areas, and that's when it was like, all right, you're marked. We might not come for you today, tomorrow, but we're going to be watching you and find out when your weak points are, and they will attack them. I'm hoping that the people that are camping catches them before they do. Like, he needs to stay careful and keep a gun with him at all times, because when I heard that story, I got chills, man.
Yeah, he's got his 40,
I got chills.
He's got his 45 with him every day. He should probably.
Yeah,
I think
he
he talked to that agent and he said that he had a 10 millimeter. So I think he's probably going to upgrade. Just from, you know, like I said, I've not communicated with him since the last email he sent me. But just going off of what he said, he seems like an intelligent guy. He seems like he's, you know, he's asking the right questions. Hey, what kind of, to an agent that deals with these things, well, what kind of pistol do you have, you know, like, and so
yeah, that's smart.
hopefully nothing happens to the guy. I know that he's scared, that he thinks the agents are looking to hurt him, and he's a young guy
The
like
agents don't
us.
want nothing to do with him. They don't want nothing to do with him.
Right.
The worst thing they'll do is try to scare you a little bit, Joe, but they will not put no hands on you.
Right.
And they could avoid that at all costs, Joe.
Yep.
But right now, what they want, because, yo, you got to think about it, Joe. Because he killed one of them walking bulls. It's blood all over him. Then you heard how they saw him. They smelled it on him. And that scent, they use scent, like certain kind of scent to find their pack mate. So when you have their blood, the strongest scent of an animal is their blood, and they can track that. And that just for knowing that those people around was what caused that, and then he's not too far from the area that it's happened. Them things, they travel. They travel, and the scent of blood can stay in the air, depending on like where it is, how it's traveled for days. We can't smell blood, but they can.
Right.
So right now, it's not that they want to scare him. They literally. I'm not too big on the ages and stuff like that, because I think some of them do shady stuff though. But in his case, sure, they have a feeling of there's going to have some kind of retaliation, because I've seen it happen before. It happened to me. It happened in my whole family, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. You of all people would know. You know, I mean, your family has been tormented by these things for generations. So, well.
Yeah, man. I'm like, honestly though, back to the story ahead. If that young agent didn't like do what he did and just listen, Joe, both of them just walked out of it unharmed. But he was new at the job. He almost cost me my life and his. My thing is, I'm lucky that the freaking thing tripped, Joe. I'm sorry, but it's not a funny matter though. Being shot, it's twice, and just seeing something that's supposedly charging you just suddenly falls and start tumbling towards you. But I think it was like some kind of like one of the roots were up from where it was running.
Right. So it just tumbled over.
Yeah, it tumbled over. It was comical, man. One day, when I do look back at it, I will laugh. But not right now, because it hurts like hell.
So, how long does the doctor say that you'll be down and out?
Honestly, I'm supposed to be out for like at least about a month and a half. But I think I'll be well back in it a lot sooner, because I'm stubborn as hell. I don't like being told that I can't do nothing, because I'm just going to do it anyway.
Yeah, you definitely just from the little bit of time that I've known you, I know that you're not out for the count. You're just you need a little break, and then you're gonna go back swinging.
Yeah, full swinging. But I'm gonna try it. Once I get like up to it, I'm gonna start sending out the trail cams. But I'm gonna keep it away from the area because supposedly they're earlier supposed to be like top secret and shit like that. So another thing is, they have some kind of disruptor up. Like every time I try to take an image or something, I don't know. It doesn't capture the image. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm figuring that they got some kind of disruptor up, signal interference or something.
Huh? That's crazy. Just so you can't take pictures or communicate. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I can take the pictures. I just can't send them.
Right. So, I really appreciate you contacting me. I'm sorry that I really felt bad at 3 because I was like, oh man, I have this thing to do. And then I was like 4. I was really worried about you at 4 when I texted you. And then I gave you a call and I didn't hear from you. I was like, I hope he's okay. I really do. You know. And,
that was alright. I took my medicine. It had me sleeping like a baby. I'm sorry, but I woke up like, oh shit. I was supposed to do it to you like about a few hours ago.
Oh, it's fine. I was just worried about your physical well-being, you know. So, I mean, an interview can wait. So, well, all right,
yeah,
brother.
let me tell you one thing. They gave me a wheelchair.
They're fun, aren't they? They're fun.
Ask my wife if I want to use in that wheelchair. She said, that shit's sitting in the corner somewhere. Like, I'm not. Oh, you gotta take it easy. You don't want to tear your stitches. I'm like, yo, I've been stitched up before. This ain't nothing new to me. The last time I got shot is when I first got a gun. I shot myself in the foot. That shit was funny. That shit was funny. That shit hurt like hell, but I was laughing. But they was like, how the hell you shoot yourself in the foot?
Yeah. So, I'm glad you're doing good. You've got my number. We've got emails. Thank your wife, please, for reaching out to me and letting us know everything. When I got the email, I was shocked. I was just like, what the hell is going on, you know? And I'm just so glad that we knew you were okay at the end of it all. And so...
I know you're right. I was like thinking to myself, I was like, damn, definitely. I was like, damn, this man came through out of trouble, yo. He always get. I was like, oh my God, this shit follows me everywhere I go, man.
Yeah, none of it made sense. Like, she reached out to me, and it was a text or an email. I'm not really sure. I think it was a text, just saying, "This is Luke's wife. Don't call him. I've got to turn his phone over to him. He's in the hospital. I'll email you something. I'll email you more news later." And I'm just like, what the is going on? Like, just like, holy cow.
Yeah, that thing threw me for a loop. So it was like, yo, another thing that you just brought up, yo. When I talked to the guy, none of them asked for my phone. Somebody else asked them for the phone. And I don't know who it was because he swore up and down it wasn't his guys.
Wow. Probably someone.
The only place he went. So, did you get the pictures that I sent you?
I got the picture of the den. That's all that I got today.
No, I actually sent you some actual pictures. I took a couple pictures of what I saw that day before I got injured.
No, I didn't get any of the pictures.
So, yeah, that was sent. Actually, no. Go back into. I'm sorry. My wife sent those pictures. She told me she sent you those pictures.
No, I didn't get any pictures.
I'll try resending them again, but that was what attacked us or me, pretty much.
Right.
So I'll resend those pictures for you because I took before I got up close to it. Because I used the camera to zoom in, so when I was able to get a sight of it, I took a few pictures. And then I switched to audio right before it went inside a little dark area. But, yeah.
All right, well, I look forward to seeing them, but yeah, that'll be crazy. So, the kid is okay too, though?
I'm sorry?
The kid, the young agent, he's okay?
Oh, he's shipping out. I think he's on desk duty for now.
Yeah, I betcha.
Because I'm like, you just because think about it, you shot 2 civilians.
Yeah.
You shot a civilian twice on the still film, and then you failed your mission, and you almost got yourself killed. So if he wasn't on desk duty, oh man, I don't know. But right now, I'm just waiting for that settlement to come in.
Well, I hope it comes in fast for you, because you definitely deserve it. You and your family have been through enough with these things, and you know, few people that I've talked to are just like, I don't know how Luke can stay on the land that he's staying on, and I'm like, well, it's his family's property. He's been in his family for generations. He's not gonna let it go, and so you guys definitely deserve some compensation for the crap you've been through.
And for the most part, other than those few instances, though, when they come through, they just come through. They'll peek through a window here and there, though, but they don't really bother. They don't really bother us. It's like, yo, at the end of the day, yo, I don't want to say that I'm used to them. I'm like complacent with them, if that makes sense.
Right.
And for the most part, yo, it's like, yo, you don't bother me, I won't shoot you. Because everywhere, yo, I'm sorry to say, everybody in my family carries weapons. Everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody.
Well, it's your Second Amendment right, brother. It's your Second Amendment right. Me and you, we've talked many times, and you know where I stand on the Second Amendment, so.
I agree. But yeah, if you can get word to that guy from Pennsylvania, just tell him to watch his back, and if he can, just put up some spotlights.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually email him. I'm hoping that he had like a burner email set up. I'm hoping that he kept it and that he's checking it periodically. Or if he just listens.
Leave him a message on your channel. Cause I'm pretty sure he listens to the channel. So.
Yep.
And then he'll find a way to get in contact with you if need be.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, and if he doesn't have the email, he's gonna hear. Hopefully, he'll hear this, and maybe it'll make some sense to him. Like, hey, I better be a little more careful, and maybe try to approach one of the agents and say, hey, what the hell's going on? Is my family safe?
I don't know if they'll disclose that, depending on who you talks to, if the person is cool or not.
Right.
But they're there, though. They're there not because of him. They're there because of him, but they're there mainly to stop a problem from occurring.
Yep, that's
so,
absolutely right.
Pretty much, when they got him. Because them people will be stationed there for a while, actually, before they leave. So,
yeah, I bet you. Yeah, for a good couple of months at least. 6 months, maybe.
Yeah.
Or at least until they can, if they can figure out if he is getting tracked, if they can take it out before it, sets any.
Yeah.
So. Well, all right, brother. I'm running out of time on recording, and I want to get you to get some rest. Luke, it's always a pleasure having you on the channel. It's a pleasure just shooting the shit with you, so you're going to be in my prayers, and I'm probably 14,000 other people's prayers. So
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you, every one of y'all.
All right, brother. Well, I'm going to say goodnight to you, and if you need anything, give me a holler or send me an email, all right?
Yeah, once I get everything up and going with these trail cams and then my trip, I'll definitely keep y'all posted.
Definitely.
Just
All right. Please don't send the pictures either. Luke, you're breaking up. Luke, your phone just did some weird stuff, buddy. There's an echo. It's really staticky right now.
I'm sorry, man.
That's all right. It's not your fault, buddy. Are you there?
You can hear me?
It's like a really weird echo. It's not picking up. It's not going to pick up on the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yep, that's better.
Hello? All right, good. Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
That's all
But
right.
yeah, I was saying that pretty soon I'm trying to get y'all some like undisputable footage and proof and things like that, yo. For all the listeners who want to know what a real one looks like and see a real one, I will be working to get that for you, but from a safe distance, of course. So,
All right, buddy.
once I get back on my feet and stuff like that, me, my dad, and a couple of friends, and hopefully these game cams, because these things cost hell of money,
Yeah.
could take some good shots. Because I'm going to place, once I'm able to, I'm going to place, once these guys leave, after a couple of weeks, I'm going to place them around the den area. Because I think they are migrating now. And I think that was the first one. I think that one was what do you call one that's like been kicked out of the herd or something like that? I forgot.
Like,
That's one of those.
what the heck do they call them?
But it's one of those, and it wasn't that big either.
Right.
I think that one might have been a juvenile.
Or he could have been one of the ones to, come in first to
scout.
check. Yeah, scout. Yep.
The scout. Hey guys, how's it going? Luke here. So pretty much as y'all know, I moved from Mississippi a few months back. So right now I'm actually in Maryland, which is actually a great spot. But like prior to the move and stuff, I was having like certain issues on the property because pretty much what we did, like after that last encounter, took my lay out the groundwork first before I get into this, so you can understand what I'm about to tell you. My wife's sister lives not too far from us, maybe about like 15, 20 miles from us. Then we have friends that live in a couple towns over. That's about almost 2 hours away. So the first time when I had the incident when one of them walking wolves had broke into my house, when I had the inkling that my family wasn't safe, I had sent them to her sister's, and they stayed there for like about a week or two. And then I actually got attacked by a dogman. I was in the hospital. I actually still am trying to recover. The use of my arm is still not 100% just yet. So, and then the second time when we was moving, we went over to the friend's house. And that was a couple of hours away due to the fact, like at the time I didn't think about it, like she's only a few miles away. What if these walking wolves tracked us to the house and I put them in danger or something like that? But nothing happened thus far. So the second time we went over, we stayed at the friend's house. They had an extra 2 bedrooms, so everything was good. So we hired a bunch of movers because my wife's aunt works in Maryland. She's a real estate agent and she owns a few properties. So we told her about the incident that went on over here. Now she told us to come down and she had a property set up for us, which we did. We looked at it, we loved it, bought it. We moved down there like probably at the end of the month, but at the time we were staying at the friend's house for a couple of weeks. So we hired movers and stuff like that, like moving company cost like a few $1,000. They was gonna drive it all the way down to the new house and stuff. So everything was going great. So when he was moving the stuff, I gave him specific instructions like, I don't care how long this takes, though, but I do not want you here past a certain time. There's a bunch of wild, dangerous animals out here, and I don't want y'all here to get hurt. And if y'all do, bring a weapon, some kind of weapon, something to protect yourselves. So you know how people are when you tell them something like that, they look at you like you're crazy or this, that, and the third. And so everything got moved, things, that, and the third. So as that was happening, like everything got moved, everything was clear from the house. I was at the friend's house, so I was having like, this was like maybe a couple of days later after everything was like moved down to the new location and stuff like that. I received a phone call from this kid. He was one of those. He was actually the kid who was on my property that day when I got injured, and like he was telling me like a whole bunch of stuff that was going on. That the reason why those Dogman was over there is because his team, and they're not related to Victor's team because I asked him, and he said that there was actually like over 100 agencies in the government, and a lot of them don't know about each other, or if they do, it's a certain classified thing, or it's a front, or this and that. But anyway, so what pretty much happened was, like, they was hunting the black one that I had an encounter with, and they ended up killing its mate, a female walking wolf. So that led it to start hunting them. So as it was hunting them, somehow it created a pack of like maybe about 30 or 40 Dogmans. And it was following them. It was literally following them to each one of the cases because the way they communicate through howls, like their communications, like they can communicate like howls and certain gestures. So like if they're like about miles away, something howls, it'll tell them to come over there or whatever because they can pinpoint the location of where the howl's coming from and they'll go in that general direction. So that's how they was able to track these guys. So the guys knew they was being tracked. So what they did was, because they heard me on YouTube and stuff like that, telling them everything was going on, or how I had proved this, that, and the third. So they came to my property a few times in the past. And I was thinking, this whole time I was thinking it was Victor's team, which now I find out that it wasn't his team. So that being said, these people led those walking wolves to my property to either to get me to leave or for it to kill me and silence me. And the kid that told me this no longer works with the agency. So he felt like, he owed it to me to tell me. So me finding this out, so my property sees safe people, which was the government, bought my property. And so I was, at the time I was emotional, so like I didn't want to be in the house. So first of all, I don't drink at all. So I went for a drive. I went back to the old property. And I had some kind of liquor in my hand. And this time I literally solicited an encounter with the walking wolves. I was looking for them. So pretty much I got to the property. I'm sitting in my car drinking, just crying, drinking, crying, yelling, screaming, cursing, drunk, pissed. All these emotions was hitting me at once. So I'm just walking. I had my the only thing I had with me at the time was just my 40 on my hip. So I'm just walking around the property, just crying, like all the things that I have to give up because these just screaming to the top of my lungs. Like, I'm cursing these wolves. Like, yo, so not knowing that I was being watched by one of these wolves. So I'm like about, give or take, I'm quite a bit away from my truck. I'm about, give or take, about 100 yards away from my truck. And as I looked at the wood line, I see the red eyes. So as I'm like trying to turn around and make it back to my truck, I trip. And from the wood line, it jumps from the wood line about a good, maybe about 20, 30 feet, 2 jumps. And it was standing about a good, like 15 feet away from me. So I'm like, at the time, I stood up like, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, yo, this thing that I have is not going to do anything to it. And honestly, I purposely just stupidly just put myself in the position that I was in. So as I did that, I'm just standing there like seeing what it was going to do next. It growls, and then like a couple more things came out. Like a good, maybe, I think I could count like 8 to 12 of them. It was literally just had me surrounded. And I just had my flashback, like back when I was like in my 20s. But at this time, I didn't have my friend to come protect me. So, and I was like, yo, these things are ready to kill me. And I'm like, yo, I can't believe how I could be so stupid. So, like, I didn't want to get eaten alive, yo. I didn't want to die that way. So, honestly, I made the choice, yo. Like, yo, I was going to kill myself before they had a chance to kill me. Hold on a second. The only thing that I could do at the moment is, like, I have my handgun on my hip, so I take it and I'll slowly just pull the thing up. Because I already figured I was going to die anyway. And the worst thing to die is I was getting eaten alive. So as I was slowly lifting it to myself, this thing roars at me, which causes me to drop the gun. And then it took a few steps forward. And and looked down at me like, I don't know, like I like you infuriate him. Like, what are you doing? And then I swallowed myself. So it sniffed it. It grinned. And I'm like, my eyes, at the time, my eyes was closed, just like waiting to just be, like, I guess being killed or whatever. Like, I'm praying that it would be quick. So, like, a few seconds goes by. Like, I didn't feel nothing, so I slowly opened my eyes. Quick as they was there, it was gone. So, and I'm right now, I'm pissed drunk. And I'm not able to drive back, so I'm calling my friend to come get me, tell me where I was at. So it took me about like a couple of hours to get to me. So I had to go home, took a shower. Like I didn't let he asked me what went on. I told him, and I told him not to tell me. So I took a shower. I avoided them because they were asleep though, so I didn't really have to do too much. So I went to sleep. So the next day, I don't know. At the end of that month, we actually flew down to Maryland.
Luke,
so,
your volume went low real quick. Your volume went real low. I can't hear you, buddy.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
All right, good. So I was saying that so we flew down to Maryland and stuff like that. So we got our stuff unsettled, unpacked and things like that. Because the way how we paid the movers, we paid them half, and we paid them the other half when the job was complete. So like I realized that not all the movers were there and stuff like that. So those 2 guys was missing. So I was like, what happened to the other guys? He's like, they're not coming back. They don't want to come back. So I asked what happened. Well, the story was from them was that they was moving the final things. So half of the team already left. It was like, I think it was 2 of them that was left. And they was trying to move the final things because they was trying to get it done so they wanted to come back in the morning and nighttime caught them there. So they started hearing things coming from the wood line, like noises and stuff like that. So he was like, they didn't think nothing of it. So then they saw like some glowing orange amber looking eyes or whatever. And as they was trying to focus on it, they made out like a mask. It was like brown with shaggy hair. It was two of them. So he came out. They came out charging them. So he ran. So the only thing that they could lock themselves in was my shed. And he had to put like a way to barricade the door in. And this thing was just like banging on the door, trying to get in. So like they was screaming, hollering. The other one was like, he got his phone out and he called the cops, like told me they'd be attacked by an animal or something. I don't know what he told them. But then he come out there to the police came in. And they hurried up and finished what they was finishing. And they left and he was like, I'm not coming back. So that's what happened with the two movers. You know. And then the reason why my aunt-in-law was able to, believe the story that he told her, because she had an encounter about, like, I think like 15, 20 years ago. It was a brief encounter. She was driving home from work. Now, it was late at night. I don't know what road she was coming down, but she said it was a two-way road, just two lanes. And then she was going up this, it's like a little hill. Something crossed the road, and it was taller than her van because he drove a minivan. Minivan was like maybe about, I think the top of it was like maybe 5 or 6 feet, and it was like way over. She didn't know it was she at the time she thought it was a Bigfoot. But now she's not so sure. After I told her what was going on. So after all of that being said, we unpacked. We was pretty much getting ourselves settled. The kids love the environment. It's not like we don't have no acres anymore, but it's just fun, because at the end of the day, there are other houses around, not too far from each other, so it's a beautiful place. So then, just after we done got settled and stuff like that, I went to I drove around to like the local wood line and stuff like that, just looking around to see if there's any signs of these walking wolves in the area, because there's ways you can tell if they're in the area. So, like, if you find like a strong scent of piss, like the strongest piss you ever smell. If you see like scratch marks above like about 6 feet, trees pushed over, and things like that, that's how you know you should have one of them walking wolves in the area and things like that. So I went there in the daytime. I didn't see no signs of them walking wolves, but I did see signs that there was a Bigfoot in the area and stuff like that. So I left. I came back the following weekend with some apples, like in the areas where I knew there was at, and I just kept leaving it there. So I used to bring like apples like every weekend and leave it there, and of course the apples was going and stuff like that. So I work overnight. So one day, I was actually coming home from work and stuff like that. So I was already tired. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't falling asleep on the road, but I was dozing off, so I was trying to try to get home and stuff like that. And like something ran in front of the car. I think it was a doe or something. I wasn't too sure. It wasn't that big, so I didn't think anything of it. So I swerved out the way, and I ended up hitting the guardrail and went my truck went into the ditch at the time. So actually knocked myself unconscious. So when I came to, I was so sure I was in the ditch. When I came to, my car was on the road, and my car was on the road, and EMT and ambulances was there. So I'm guessing somebody drove by and saw that I had an accident. Called the But the way that everything looked like from the crime, not the crime scene, the accident scene, is that my car went into that ditch. But how was they able to get my car back out? So my thing is, I didn't see what happened though, but I'm thinking that one of those Bigfoots actually saw my car over there and probably recognized me for me just leaving the apples and put my car in a way that somebody could see it. Because by the way my car, when I came to and everything was said and done, when my car hit that ditch, even it being an all-wheel drive, I wasn't getting out that ditch. So I could, from today till today, I still give them apples every weekend and stuff like that. So pretty much everything is is going well with the exception of those two. A couple weeks ago, I did get a phone call from my sister-in-law, and she told me about her encounter that she happened 10 years ago. So, 10 years ago, she was with her husband and stuff like that. So she has this. At the time, she had this little, those little Pomeranian dogs, those small toy dogs.
Yep.
So yeah, so she had one of those dogs. So she used to let it out every night and stuff like that. So every night her dog would be barking like uncontrollably, and she wouldn't know why it was barking. So one night, she let her dog out. Her dog was barking uncontrollably, and then all of a sudden it just stopped barking. As quickly as it started barking, it just stopped. So she found it strange. So she was going out there outside looking for her dog. She had her phone in her hand. She was using the light from her phone because she didn't have a flashlight. Like standing like maybe like 20 feet away from her, she see this brown wolf-like creature standing there, having her dog in the air, eating her dog. She drops her phone and runs in the house screaming like, "Oh my God, what's her name is dead?" I forgot the name of the dog. It's killing her. It's killing her. So her husband comes out like, "What is it? Is it a bear? What?" Just that and third. So he's like, he gets his handgun. He goes out. She's like, "Don't go out there. It'll kill you. It'll kill you." So he goes out there. He sees this thing, yo. The minute he opens that door and sees what he was looking at, he closes that door and just like literally just start crying. Like ever since then, she's seen it, but she never told that story. So now we told her the stuff that was going on our property at the time. So she's actually having visitors at night, like scratching on the sidings, tapping on the window, and she thinks those things are back. So I'm actually gonna go by sometime next week, like probably around Thanksgiving, spend Thanksgiving with them, and try to help them and my pops and see what we could do for them. And because I felt bad, because I felt like I brought them there, because I was just thinking at the time, I was just thinking about my family, because I forgot that these things could track for a good distance. And like they track my wife, our sisters. So that's pretty much what happened so far. Another thing is, you also brought up about, I heard you talking about the 400 wolves and things like that in Russia and stuff like that. And I figure the reason why they're packing like that is because they can't threaten. Hold on a second.
Yep.
Yeah, so I heard y'all talking about the 400 wolves in Russia and stuff like that.
Your volume again, buddy.
So my thing is that can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So I heard my thing is that those walking wolves are taking over their territory and things like that, which is making food very scarce for them. So they feel like the best way for them to survive is to pack up. So that's my take on the thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, these things terrorize the town, and like you said, wolves don't really go into towns. They, try to stay out of little villages. Even if it's a small remote village, they'll try to avoid it as much as possible. And, they went
unless they don't have no choice and there's no food in the area.
Right. And, being a predator themselves, the only thing that's really going to scare them is a larger predator. And they're really not going to be, a pack of wolves are not going to be really too afraid of a singular bear or two bears, but something like a Dogman
Nah.
or the walking wolf, that's a whole different scenario for them.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, those things are bigger, stronger, faster, and they're like wolves on like steroids and shit.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if there's no food in the area, if they're taking all the food in the area, they're gonna go to the closest area where they can get food because they're starving. It's literally taking over the areas. So they're doing a lot of things that even freaking bears are freaking grouping up together. I read something a couple weeks ago that was like a group of bears spotted. I forgot what state it was. And I'm like, that's a rare thing because those are, if it ain't mama and her cubs, it's a rare thing for bears to group together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just crazy. So I mean, I will be going down there next weekend. So I'll just like to help like secure everything, make sure everything's good. I'm not too sure about what their gun laws down here. So right now I keep my weapons in the case and stuff like that because I have to read up on how the laws work over here, and I have to get my open carry and all of that stuff if they have that over there. But it's just crazy, man. These things, they're pissed, man. They're pissed. They're like homie was just talking about, Joe. And then you messing with them too long, and now they starting to bite back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they want what's. They either like you said when we were talking prior to the interview, they know when the end of times are because they're that type of creature, and they can sense disease, they can sense strife and melee, and 2020's been that year. I mean, so we've had a lot of encounters recently.
Yeah, because they've been coming out a lot more and they're getting a lot bolder. They're like, they know they got. Their thing is the reason why they only attack humans is because they had no need to let you get away. But they're saying like a lot of people that they let get. Now the thing is, a lot of people that they let getting away. When they let them get away, more people come. People with guns come, and some of their family members get missing. So now, these dogman things that you call them, their mindset is probably like, if I let you go, you're gonna bring somebody else to kill me. So I'm just gonna take you out right then and there. I probably hide your body somewhere so they can't find you.
Yep.
That's what I like. Cause there was a lot of missing people in Mississippi. A lot of missing people in cases became unsolved.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking this is what these things are doing. Because for the longest, they'll let you go. Because you and I both know nobody can outrun a walking wolf.
No.
You need to give you a 100-yard head start. You will not be able to get away from it unless it wants you to. So it's funny how people say, I ran as fast as I could, and this and that, and I was able to get. No, you wasn't able to get away. It'll let you get away. This is an alpha predator. They can jump over 30 feet in the air in a single bound.
Yeah.
So now they're on. Like, they've been more aggressive than they ever been. My thing is, what I'm questioning is, why was I able to walk away from this last one?
Especially
that I don't get
the demonic one as well. I mean, you've been through. In Taylor, Mississippi is a hot spot and has been for years, and
hundreds of years.
Yeah,
actually,
your
really.
family has been tormented for generations. I mean, your great-grandfather, grandfather, dad, your kids. Right there's 5 generations of your family having to deal with these things, even though the kids, they were around for, the, with you getting hurt and shit like that. So it affects them as well. you know. So, but you yourself have seen how smart, how cunning, how powerful they are. You know, Big Red got taken, pretty much almost taken out by 3 or 4 of them. You know, I mean, still he put up a good fight, but when they pack up, they can pretty much do anything they want.
They could decimate anything. They could decimate anything. You know? And I believe if it wasn't for my grandfather, he probably wouldn't make it out because my grandfather said he was in bad shape when he found him.
Yep.
But he was still fighting. And once he realized the fight was over, is when he finally was able to like freaking just like relax, not even relax, just get experience. And like Victor said that he was almost on the brink of death. That his wounds to his neck was his worst one.
Yeah, he was tore up. You know, and they're just, I don't even know anymore. It's there's certain things that are coming to, you know, a head, and we're not gonna like where it leads to. I'm afraid. So.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And on that note, like one of my things is the reason why I believe I survived that one because I believe I wasn't an intended target. Because mind you, when people was on my property for the longest, I know he smelled them around. So I don't know if he at the time he associated me with them or not. But I figured if he found me, I think his mentality, if he found me, he would found them. So, but I think he's looking for those people because at the end of the day, they said the kid said that they killed its mate, and when he killed its mate, it went bonkers.
Right.
Like and they already lost like about. I think he said they lost about like 10 people already due to him and his pack. So, like a pack of freaking 40 broken rules. That ain't no joke. Man. It's not a joke.
No, it's not. It's not. It's like a biker gang on steroids with claws and teeth.
Exactly, man. I don't know what else they did to piss this thing off, but this thing looks like it's not stopping until it gets every last one of them. So, I'm pretty sure pretty soon Victor team is going to get called in to deal with them. It's going to start being some more casualties. I'm surprised that he ain't heard about unless they covered it up, the deaths of the supposed agents and stuff like that. But they're losing men left and right.
Well,
I'm guessing when that comes into the point when they can't handle it, they're going to have to contact Victor's team or Victor's agency.
Yeah. I mean, there's offshoot, not like Victor's team and agency or who he works for, but there's offshoot state branches and stuff like that. And, you know, they're even bothersome for Victor because when they get involved and try to cover it up and hide it and keep it a secret from them, that makes more work for his guys and him. So I don't know. They might have to get together and work together on this.
Yeah, they might have to. So hopefully, because I know I read a couple of the comments, people was asking who I sold the property to, are they aware of it? So I pretty much put it out there, Some government official bought my property, the same government official who actually brought these working rules to my property to either get me to leave or to get me to sell it, bought it from me. And I don't like that too much if they're listening. But I don't care.
Right.
They already took everything else from me,
Yeah. And your dad is safe. Your dad is with you. Your dad's not down there, in case everybody didn't hear that. Because...
Yeah.
So that's, you guys got out of there probably in a good time, too, because it's just going to come to a head down there, I feel.
Yeah, I feel so, too. Because I actually got to go back there, because, like I said, my sister-in-law was having occurrences that happened in the night. Just started a few weeks ago, so I need to see what that's about, because I'll feel bad if that was because of me,
Right, definitely.
So we're gonna stay there. We're gonna stay there for that weekend, for the week actually.
So I know.
Hopefully things will smoke.
Yeah, I know that you want to be a part of that 3-question, 15-minute thing. So you wanted to be at the tail end. I got a ton of emails. This is just an announcement for everybody so everyone can hear it. I got a ton of emails. I'm going to talk to Victor. I'm going to see, instead of doing one, because we were going to do 8 to 10 people, I think we're going to do a couple shows like that where we have myself, Victor, on the phone, and we call, notify the people we're calling ahead. They can come on and ask 3 questions, and I know you want to be a part of that. So, with you want to be last or around the last of everything. So that'll be perfect, and maybe you can give us an update on what happened when you went down there as well.
Yeah, definitely will. I definitely will.
All right.
I'm actually going to set up some kind of cameras around my property.
Is there anything that you want to say to anybody before we end this interview quick?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody because I read the comments, your well wishes, and checking up on me. I am safe. My family's are safe. My family's happy. We actually love the new environment that we're in. It's a change for me, but I think I'm acting pretty well. And who knows? I think pretty soon I'm actually have another Bigfoot friend because I think he saved my life to help me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, just stay safe. At the end of the day, like I said before, God gave y'all instincts for a reason. Use it. And also, I think this says was true. Don't lock yourself up. Enjoy nature. Just be smart about it. You know, if something don't feel right, then trust your instinct and just leave that area as soon as possible. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that can protect you is your instincts. So don't neglect them.
Right on.
All right, guys. I hope you all enjoyed that upload. The compiled interviews with Luke. That way you guys could hear a lot of what his family has gone through in one sitting. Throughout this time with the channel and talking to Luke, we've all got to know him, and really nice person. I'm looking forward to his dad coming on and hearing the experiences from his dad as well. Like I said, though, it's generations. You know, you've got Luke's great-grandfather, his granddad, his dad, Luke, and his kids. What's that? 5 generations of Dogman. Taylor, Mississippi. What a place. Anyway, with that, my friends, stay safe. May the Great Spirit watch over us all. May He guide us down that path that we call life.